there will be a point at which people just stop using fiat currencies. So we can project out 10 years, 20 years, but the reality is we're probably not going to go to 20 million a coin. And eventually, at some point, we'll just use Bitcoin as the unit of account. So with money, you have three parts of paths to evolution: store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange. So unit of account right now is still the dollar. Even countries that don't use the dollar, their currencies are pseudo pegged to the dollar or directly pegged to the dollar. But eventually we'll just price things in Satoshis, which is the smallest unit of Bitcoin.
Imagine a world where your wealth can grow steadily, unhindered by the constraints of traditional currency. With Bitcoin, that world may soon become a reality. As Bitcoin's influence continues to expand, so does the belief that it has the potential to revolutionize finance, challenging existing norms and disrupting centralized systems. Industry leader Samson Mow envisions Bitcoin reaching a historic $100,000, driven by the powerful ABCD price pattern. However, his vision extends beyond mere numbers. He sees Bitcoin as the financial foundation for a fairer and more independent future. Mow believes that Bitcoin's increasing value could threaten the dominance of the US dollar, reduce funding for conflicts, and serve as the primary financial network in times of crisis. He emphasizes that favorable regulations and government reserves will be crucial for its widespread adoption. Mow even speculates about high-profile individuals, like Donald Trump, investing in Bitcoin to safeguard and enhance their wealth amidst growing demand. He anticipates a median annual growth rate of 60%, consistent with Bitcoin's trends over the past 5 to 10 years, predicting it could eventually replace the dollar as the global standard for value, with prices denominated in Satoshi. For more insights into Samson Mow's discussion, watch clips from the interview. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
I think he likes to say that he fulfilled his promises. So if you look at what he did in the previous election, he was talking about building the wall. Did they build the wall to the full scale that they said they were going to build it? No, but they built parts of the wall. So even if he only does a part of the Bitcoin strategic reserve, maybe he buys 100,000 coins. I don't know. But that is something. But at least we know that we have access to Trump through a lot of the people lobbying in the US. And we know that he is at least not against Bitcoin. And yes, he is, promoting altcoins and whatnot, but sometimes you have to choose the lesser of two evils. My model is actually very simple. It's just 60% median growth every year. And if you go back 5 to 10 years, roughly you see the same trajectory. But one thing that most models don't account for is that there will be a point at which people just stop using fiat currencies. So we can project out 10 years, 20 years, but the reality is we're probably not going to go to 20 million a coin. And eventually, at some point, we'll just use Bitcoin as the unit of account. So with money, you have three parts of paths to evolution: store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange. So unit of account right now is still the dollar. Even countries that don't use the dollar, their currencies are pseudo pegged to the dollar or directly pegged to the dollar. But eventually we'll just price things in Satoshis, which is the smallest unit of Bitcoin. Ultimately, everyone is going to use Bitcoin. It's either you accept it or you wait until you have no choice, because the person you want to buy bread from doesn't want a euro anymore. So at that point, do the regulations really matter? It's just near term. I think you can have good regulations or bad regulations, but the legal tender law I don't think is really legal tender even in El Salvador, because merchants are not forced to accept it. Larger companies are accepting it because they want to make sure they follow the letter of the law. But by and large, most people don't accept Bitcoin yet in El Salvador even, and they're not forced to. So if I go to a business and I say I want to pay in Bitcoin, they say no, I can't call the police. I don't think anyone's going to enforce that. And I think the deregulation path of Argentina is probably more practical, just saying just use whatever you want. And you can use Bitcoin as money, and there is no barrier there. There's no taxation on it, because you shouldn't be taxed on using money to buy daily goods. And I think places like Switzerland are okay as well because there is no capital gains tax. So you can, for example, in Lugano, just spend Bitcoin and buy whatever you want, and it's just treated as money too. And there was no regulation needed for that as well. So I guess it depends really on if there is anything currently prohibiting, because some countries don't allow people to use Bitcoin for payments as well. So either you need to amend that or make a new regulation saying, yes, Bitcoin can be used. So it's very different per country, but I think the countries that we are focused on are more in the developing world, and they are seeking economic growth and investment. So for them, it's not really worrying about all these things that maybe Europeans worry about, but they just want money to come in. States are going to want it one way or another. And right now, as you saw, the bulk of the holdings are from seizures from criminal activities. But in the future, that could change to mining, because if you look at it, at least the way I look at it, is a state is basically, they're the homeowner association. They operate the land and they have all the energy, and they can direct that to do different things, like mining Bitcoin. So they could mine it for themselves. And we already see that there is a potential for Bitcoin mining to balance grids. And if you're going to nuclear, you have a very large base load already that you need to consume. So why not mine Bitcoin with it? So eventually, there is no such thing as a mining company. It's just an energy company, and they all mine. And if they all mine, then and they're state-owned, then the state can produce its own Bitcoin. But I think the key is that we are engaging to make sure that if there are policies that come out, it's not bad policies, and there are protections in place to ordinary Bitcoin holders.
Samson Mow believes that Bitcoin has the potential to enhance people's lives by promoting fairness and equality. He highlights that Bitcoin provides equal access for the unbanked and underprivileged populations. Citing El Salvador's adoption of Bitcoin, Mow argues that it effectively defunds wars, as conflicts cannot be financed without printing more money. He envisions Bitcoin ushering in a new era of peace, where corrupt leaders will find it increasingly difficult to finance hostilities. While he acknowledges that markets may collapse and Bitcoin's price could initially drop in the event of a war, Mow is confident that Bitcoin will rebound and establish itself as the primary operational financial network. Traditional financial systems often fail during conflicts, making Bitcoin a more reliable option. Countries that hold substantial Bitcoin reserves will be in a stronger position, thus reducing political risk. Additionally, Bitcoin minimizes the seizure risks associated with gold reserve. Let's return to the interview and watch more clips to gain further insights from Samson Mow.
Well, I think people that want to abuse the rules and abuse their power are going to do so anyways. And I think Bitcoin can change people for the better. So if you take two people as a test and you give one of them, and both want to abuse power, and you give one of them Bitcoin, it's more likely that the one that you educated and got into Bitcoin is going to change because they understand at least the Bitcoin ethos and maybe sound money. But the more important thing is that with Bitcoin, you can't really abuse the system because the system treats everyone equally. So even if you're impoverished and you're unbanked, you have the same ability to acquire Bitcoin as Michael Saylor. I think that is the more important thing, just getting it into the hands of people. So, for example, El Salvador, they adopted Bitcoin, and maybe they have like 500,000 people using it, or 300,000. It's estimated, but at least those 300,000 people now have access to Bitcoin. Whereas if they didn't adopt it, then it'd be zero or close to zero. So I think, again, you have to take the good with the bad. So if a government accepts it and they endorse it, then the people are going to benefit and they are going to have Bitcoin, which levels the playing field, I think, at the end of the day. And you do see some of this playing out in the US. So like President Trump is speaking at a Bitcoin conference. You have major senators there. Senator Elizabeth Warren is probably going to lose, or at least she's fighting a heated battle with Deaton for a Senate seat. So why are they able to compete and why are they at Bitcoin conferences? It's because we have a significant amount of wealth in the hands of Bitcoiners now. So it is changing the game. I think Bitcoin defunds wars. It's difficult to finance a war if you actually have to go to people that have custody of the asset or the money. It's easy to finance a war if you can print the money. And it's the same for everything. Most government policies are not of the will of the people. And I'm from Canada, so I can tell you, like, we didn't want to buy the vaccines, but the government bought the vaccines. We didn't want the $84 million app that you use to register when you enter and leave the country, but they did that anyway. So if they had to ask and collect the money for that, no one would give them the money for that. And it's the same with financing war. So I believe Bitcoin will usher in an age of peace, because the people that are corrupt, that want war, won't be able to finance the war. So the impact of the war, probably markets would tank and Bitcoin will go down, but eventually Bitcoin will go back up, because Bitcoin is likely going to be the only financial network that is going to be operating if there is full-blown war and sides are split up and lines are drawn across the board. One thing that people seem to forget is that financial systems don't work during wartime. You can't send money to anybody, and it depends on where you are and what app you're using, but probably a lot of them won't work. Venmo probably won't work. PayPal probably won't work. So everyone will just end up using Bitcoin. And bank balances will disappear for some reason or other. Maybe a bank data center is hit. So Bitcoin will be the only thing that functions at the end of the day. I don't think there is a political risk. Any country that has a strong reserve of Bitcoin, or large reserve of Bitcoin, will be in a good position. The political risk might be, people come to Germany to ask for financing. But I think having Bitcoin is de-risking, because if you have gold, then you're at risk of seizure of the gold, especially if you have the gold in your own territory.
Bitcoin has made headlines by surpassing the $70,000 mark, capturing global interest and sparking speculation about its potential to reach new height. The upcoming U.S. presidential election on November 5, 2024, adds an intriguing layer as market observers speculate on Bitcoin's future direction. Currently, Bitcoin's chart displays an ABCD pattern, indicating a potential price target of $76,600. This pattern forms when prices move in two nearly identical legs, with the final leg suggesting a specific destination. Bitcoin's progress is significantly influenced by support levels. Immediate support is found at $70,570, which aligns with the 50-day exponential moving average, a crucial trend indicator. Additionally, a demand zone between $68,197 and $68,891 could attract buyers if Bitcoin experiences a pullback. As long as Bitcoin remains above this demand zone, the optimistic outlook holds. However, a drop below this level could signal a deeper correction. On the upside, Bitcoin faces substantial resistance at $72,126. A breakout above this level could propel it towards $75,600, suggesting the possibility of a new high. This aligns with the overall positive sentiment in the market, but it's important to monitor these resistance levels closely, as they could either confirm the upward trend or lead to a short-term pullback. What potential impact do you think widespread Bitcoin adoption could have on global economic stability and conflict resolution? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto News, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.